Hey everybody, welcome back to Mr. Pod. This is still a thing somehow. We're on episode 20, and we've got a familiar face. Sando Calrissian is in the house because he's missing out on GDC to be here. He just canceled his whole trip so that he could be on this world famous, exciting opportunity.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The Japanese immigration knew that too. Knew that you needed someone desperately on Mr. Pod, and they were like, "Nope, we ain't letting you leave until you pod it up."
Yeah, I sent the Japanese government a email, and it was marked important. So I think they took it very seriously, and they revoked your ability to travel. So how does that work exactly? Because you got denied from leaving. That's kind of like imprisonment, right?
I think they actually did me a favor in this instance because if I had insisted on wanting to leave, then they would have let me leave, but I effectively would have been deported, so I wouldn't be able to get back into the country.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, how does that work?
In what sense?
Because you're there. Okay, so you're there. I guess it's like really hard to actually become a citizen of Japan unless you're Japanese.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely not a citizen, not even close.
So,
technically I'm on a dependent visa because my wife is the one with the actual visa, and I'm only here because she's working here.
What does she do?
She teaches English, so she works as a kindergarten teacher, teaching
Nice.
English to babes. Yeah, man.
That's awesome. I mean, I know so many people who have gone to Japan, and that's what they did. Like, it just seems like if you want to go to Japan,
That's the cliche.
yeah,
Yeah.
you go teach English. I mean, is that
It's funny because no, I mean that's totally a fair judgment call, and most people do come here to teach English for lack of better options. It's just really hard to work here unless you have a really, really strong grasp on the language. And she and I can speak it all right, but like enough to have lived here for 4 or 5 years. But yeah, like we go to a bunch of comedy shows here, which might sound kind of weird, but my wife did stand-up comedy for a while, so we're kind of in this small comedy circle of foreigners in the city. And anytime somebody does a stand-up show, they open with a line like, "Oh, so what do you do? What do you do?" Or does anybody here not teach English or something along those lines? So it's kind of a known thing. That's what people are here to do. Yeah.
stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
That's the delayed reaction. There's
Yeah.
there's a delay on our feed, so
I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it.
Stand-up comedy.
Uh-huh.
How do you even wait? So that was like a side thing. Like she was there to teach English, and then she decided Japanese people are not very funny, so I'm gonna show them. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that
Trying to add a little liquid to the dryness of Japanese society. No, I mean it was just an impulsive kind of decision. We saw an ad at one point for stand-up comedy / improv group, which was run by foreigners, and she just thought it sounded interesting, so she started doing it, and she did it for like 2 years regularly. It's been a while since she actually got on stage, but it was a pretty regular thing, and surprisingly, some like B-list comedians from the UK and other parts of the world have come here and performed with her, and it's actually been a pretty cool little adventure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. When I started podcasting, it was kind of like therapeutic because I have a lot of trouble talking to people. If you can imagine.
No,
And-
I can't imagine that.
yeah. No, I think I've come a ways, but the thought of talking to people who aren't talking back terrifies me. And,
Well, it's a lot of work for sure.
well,
I mean,
yeah.
not podcasts necessarily, but that I'm sure is too. Setting up OBS clearly is a lot of work for some people.
No, it's not. Like, there are podcasters that plan and they come up with, like,
Yeah, you have a script and all that.
here's what we do. We're going to go, through this list of things, and I'm going to ask you these questions. But literally, I don't do that. I just call you on the phone and start talking about what's going on, because I don't know. Does anybody want to hear me ask a bunch of questions like that? That just doesn't sound...
No interviews. That's not what we're doing.
No. We've already done that, where I was like, "Oh, so what's it like drawing pixels?" And you're like, "It's cool, man. I fucking it's the best, and I'm the best." And then I'm like, "Well, what about these people?" Yeah, nobody.
They all suck. Their pixels are subpar.
Yeah, they pillow shade like assholes.
They dither. Fuck them.
People. Yeah. Okay. So this is why we're friends. Other than the fact that you like Berserk.
Anti-dithering?
Dithering is for shitlords. Like, it is the worst kind of pixel art.
You know, it's one of those things that I always bring up, saying how much I don't like dithering, and somebody always has to say, like, oh, you know, in the right context, or if it's done correctly, it looks nice. And I'm like, okay, fine, you can make that case, but it's just such a pointless... Like, if you can paint... Why would you do pointillism? Like, obviously, you know, there's maybe a market for that, but no, it's the same kind of thing where if your objective is to make something that aesthetically has that look, then I guess it's one thing. Like, if that's your style.
Did you just make a case against pointillism as a study of painting?
It's a similar approach. Though,
I don't think that's at all the same as.
Well, maybe because the analogy might not be sound, but if you're an impressionist painter, then you're trying to, create a work of art that gives the impression of something, but has. I mean, look, it's not realism. I mean, neither is pixel art, but there are different approaches you can take. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but you know what I mean, though. Dithering is a pointless approach unless you're going for a very specific.
Dithering is a relic of times past, where you're dealing with a palette that doesn't have colors that would make a nice gradient or transition, I think. Like, dithering today is, I guess, a product of people restricting themselves to a palette. Only, if you're making your own palette, I mean, why wouldn't you just make a palette that works for what you're doing?
Yeah, going overboard with gradients too, and pixel art never really looks that great either. But
fuck dithering.
if you're talking about dithering being archaic, like an archaic use of pixel art, then I can get on board with that too. But I actually just don't like how it looks.
Yeah, you're like fuck pointillism. Pointillism is dumb.
I'm not a fan of pointillism either. Clearly,
pop art's for shitty people.
Andy Warhol was a bum.
Painting soup cans is a waste of time. I don't know who I'm.
There's an argument to be made there too.
You know, we're from I guess I don't know why I'm using like a California accent. It's because of the way you look.
All those Bohemians. I look like I'm all ready to go to San Francisco, and my bags are on the floor, still packed.
You are, but conversely,
held back.
I look like a person who hasn't ever been outside. So,
this is true. You look like you just came out of a cave and forgot how to use OBS after a decade of no Mr. Potting.
You've got a nice tan going, and I'm like this zombie of a man. I think
it's just lighting, to be honest.
No, it's because it's because I don't go outside ever. Because why would I? You know. We swim.
You got babies.
We swim in the summer, but yeah. So that sucks about GDC though, man. Like you're missing out on that. Y'all were gonna show Hacky Zack. You got anything? I guess you got some stuff going on with Farah as well.
No, not really.
No.
you know enough about that for me to not have to go into any details, but. I mean, luckily we weren't showing Hacky Zack directly. Like, we didn't have a booth or anything.
Yeah.
Humble Bundle, who is publishing us, as was announced like a week ago, they're going to be showing it for us. And we don't technically need to be there, but at least some of us are going and can help represent the game.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world that I'm not going to be there. But I definitely wanted to see a lot of people that weren't there last year. It's the one time of year you get to meet all your Twitter friends and Twitter crushes. So
Twitter crushes.
That's why I'm sad.
Who are your Twitter
Not that-
crushes right now? Who are you like wishing that you knew better on Twitter? Twitter is a big
Clearly.
deal.
Yeah, Twitter's a big deal, man. That's why you need to go to GDC.
No.
Because you're the number one crush.
Absolutely not, because then people would see my dad bod and they'd think he's using trick photography on all these tweets.
Yeah, right. Your massive guns.
Below what I'm showing here, it's just an amorphous blob all the way to the floor.
You've got like quadruple chins just hanging down below the monitor.
But you can see that I don't have, at least I don't have double chin going on. That's.
I'm trying not to look at the stream because the latency throws me off.
Yeah, I'm an excellent ventriloquist. But yeah.
You sir, you sir are a dummy.
So Twitter. Transition. Mr.
Dangerous
Pod.
territory. Dangerous territory.
Yeah, I've been
about
noticing as of late, and especially since I got any level. You know, I used to love Twitter. It was like my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point, I don't know if this echoes with anybody else, but whenever you get to a point where people stop talking to you like a normal person and start talking to you like they want something from you or like they're trying to... I don't know.
When do you think that happens? Like once you reach a certain follow count, or once you're famous enough for a specific product,
or maybe I changed and maybe I don't communicate. I used to really love about Twitter that I'd get on and I would say something and immediately people would be like, "That's fucking dumb," and then I could argue with strangers online, and people just don't even do that anymore. They just fucking click the unfollow button. Or,
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's good then. I mean, you don't want to talk to them anyway, so.
I do.
Get out of here.
I actually do want to talk to people. The problem is, people aren't argumentative anymore. It's like they're just overtly mean and rude.
Well, that's most people anyway. I think once you gain more followers, you just kind of run into more of those people, like based on, the nature of statistics. You know. The more people that follow you, the more annoying people are going to start talking to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's it. It's just, yeah, I miss the old days, and if anybody's listening, I like to talk to people. Like, say shit to me, please. I've been doing polls because it's really the only way that I get like a mass interaction of how people are feeling about things. So I've been really enjoying that actually.
I like those. I've been enjoying seeing those too because there's some interesting conversations that get sparked in there. I mean, for the most part, people just say, "No, this game sucks," or "This game's better. Why don't you have this game in your poll?" But I agree. I think that those are.
Yeah, and I'm trying to avoid. You know, I'm doing polls on like what game is better between these choices.
Well, all of your choices are like top picks to begin with, and there's always one that you know everyone's going to choose.
Yeah, for sure, and I kind of write that one off because you gotta include that. But really, like people, the most common thing people come in with is like, "Oh, this is better than all those." Well, that's not what I'm fucking asking. Like, if I throw in the game that's the best game, then it's not an interesting poll.
Right.
I wasn't gonna put a bunch of like C-list RPGs like Wild Arms on there with like
Brave Fence or Musashi, and just
Brave
like
Fence
random.
or Musashi. That's one that I need because nobody's played that, have they?
Nobody's played that, but it's a pretty underrated game. I love that game.
It's really good. Yeah,
I think I found it along with Suikoden or Suikoden. I found it. How do you pronounce it, by the way?
You're the fucking person in Japan. How the fuck does it?
No, well, I know how it's pronounced, but how do you pronounce it? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't pronounce it. I cleverly type it.
Just say, Suiko, that 108 stars RPG.
Yes, I'm like, what's the name of that one with the S? And then I write it on a card and hand it to somebody.
Growing up, my friends and I pronounced it Suikoden because we didn't know anything about Japanese language, and I found out like 20 years later that makes absolutely no sense phonetically. So it's Suikoden, I'm quite sure, but I don't know how you'd anglicize that.
I'm quite sure.
Because I've never heard a Japanese person say the name either, so I have to just assume.
Yeah, but, I think you're right. I mean, English is a weird language as a basis for learning other languages because so many ways that you spell and pronounce things in English are nonsensical.
Oh yeah.
And my first experience with that was learning Spanish as a young person. And in Spanish, it's all phonetic. Like, every letter does the same shit every time.
Right. Right.
And it's insanely easy. And I was always
In
just
Japanese too, it's the same.
yeah, so that's what I figured is like you learn the way things are pronounced, and they're all pronounced and spelled that exact same way.
Yeah.
That must be refreshing. But I don't know. Like, in
Now, English has a lot of really stupid rules. I mean, it's because it's a mishmash of Germanic and Romantic languages in general. So
yeah.
it's not really any structure based on some long history that we can refer to. It's just a combination of a bunch of things with different rules.
Yeah, and I was doing these polls partly because I was thinking about just like playing some games, and I was trying to get like what
do people want to see?
well, and I don't remember them all, and I'm just trying to remember like the feelings, and people all came in with really interesting things about what they loved and what they didn't, and why I'm a bad person for including certain options and not others. But I think that
what?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that makes me wonder where people actually found out about some of the first games they played, the ones that really kind of struck a nerve with them. Like, for me, Brave Fence Musashi and Suikoden, I found them in bargain bins. Like, back when, like the late 90s, when even Final Fantasy VII was just kind of tossed into a bin at Toys R Us or something. And you just, they weren't labeled very well. You just had to sift through the bin and pick a game up that had an interesting looking cover. And I remember that the day that I picked up Suikoden, I was deciding between that, which had a really shitty, like, Fabio romance dime novel illustration cover for the American version. I was deciding between that and a game called Punky Skunk, which was some kind of skateboard platformer or something. And I remember that I was adamant about picking Punky Skunk because the cover of Suikoden looked horrible, and my buddy was like, "No, get that one. It's an RPG. More hours of playability." It's like, okay, fine, I'll get it. And it was clearly one of the best decisions I have ever made.
Oh yeah, incredible series
in gaming, but
incredible game. And that's one of the rare RPGs that like the sequels to it all have these connections in characters and things that like it all feels like it's in the same world.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't.
A lot of the characters are crossed over too. So.
Well, yeah, Flick and Victor.
Yeah, and Pesmerga, Hubert twins, and all that.
Sure, all those guys.
All those guys.
All those bros. They
say. I actually.
The people on the stream are saying that you look like the singer from Panic at the Disco. But I don't know what that person looks like.
I'm actually not reading the stream.
But, it's important that you read it so that you can see if people are talking shit. I don't know. If anybody has any questions, they should ask questions. But I don't see any questions. It's just comments on how handsome and dreamy you are, as usual.
Oh, God. I need your luscious man fur. I can't grow a beard like you.
In my case, yeah, it's like Funko Land was like where I lived as a child. And was it
Funko Land?
Was it Funko Land? Was that the one where you could buy and sell games before GameStop?
I know Funko is a game publisher, right? But I don't know if they had actual retail chains. But
maybe I'm
not where I was living.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but there were a bunch of these shops all over the place, and they all had like secondhand stuff, and I would research and find like rare RPGs when I was a little kid, like SNES games that had a very limited run in the US, such as like a lot of the Koi games, like Inindo and Uncharted Waters, and then there was like Harvest Moon on the SNES was a very limited run, even though it wasn't as limited as some other things, but
yeah.
Those games to me, like Japan has a relationship with us where they think that they thought at the time Americans were too stupid to appreciate RPGs, so they didn't release a lot of them over here.
Yeah.
especially in the Final
Yep.
Fantasy series.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
come to find
Secret of
out,
Mana too, that happened too as well, because
Seiken Densetsu
yeah, Seiken Densetsu 2 is or 3 is Secret of
3.
Mana 2,
Yes,
right? So there was obviously one that didn't get
I think that might
localized
have been
over.
a Game Boy game, maybe, and I think it
Could be.
was a Final Fantasy series. I don't remember. There's a bunch of fucking weird, like I think Final Fantasy Legends was actually like a Saga series game that they rebranded for
Hmm.
America. But yeah, I found all the
Yeah, that
games
happened
that
a
way
lot.
because that's what you
Yeah.
used to have to do. Before GameFAQs existed, before really the internet.
Were you a GamePro guy?
GamePro.
GamePro,
No,
going way back. Oh,
I
really?
no, I really wasn't. Like,
It's you know what it is, right? I assume.
no, I have no idea. What is GamePro?
So it was a monthly subscription magazine that I guess really before the internet hit it big, or was, kind of became mainstream. That's where you'd get all your gaming news, and all of the editors had and the writers had like little cartoon avatars, and they would do reviews of the game. So you like the frog ninja avatar dude or the zombie avatar dude would always review the action games, and there was a different guy that did the RPGs. So you would like flip through the magazine looking for that cartoon avatar and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a review I want to read. I love this guy." And it was a different way of approaching finding new games, but it was pretty fun.
I've never heard of
Remember?
that, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it was big. Yeah, I don't know why either. It was pretty popular.
I've always been generally averse to looking up anything about games before buying them, and I don't know why. Like, it seems like you should research or whatever, but when I was a kid, I didn't want anything. I wanted to go in completely fresh. I didn't want to know if it was good or bad. I wanted to decide for myself. I was kind of
You
a
probably
prick.
had no. That sounds like a good thing actually. I wish I had done that more too, because you probably had a less biased experience going into it, especially if you didn't have a reviewer telling you what to expect before you played or.
Well, and you used to get demos, before the internet was, or before
Oh
bandwidth was
yeah,
readily available. Like,
Pizza Hut demos.
sure, but also I think the one that sticks out in my mind, I had this Metal Gear Solid demo that I played for like 10 hours. Where-
Just the demo. Right, yeah.
Just the demo. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I did the same.
and you just use like the homing rockets and you fuck around with people because that kind of game just didn't exist at the time, and I just thought. And Bushido
Yeah.
Blade, I think, was part of the same
Yep.
package.
Yeah, I actually don't know if I've ever played the full Bushido Blade
Yeah,
game.
just the demo.
Just the demo, because it gave you. They were smart enough. Well, I don't know if they were smart to do this because I didn't buy the game probably as a result. But they gave you at least two characters you could play as, and the co-op was fully functional. Like they didn't limit any of the mechanics or any of that. So I was able to just have a buddy over and play Bushido Blade for hours. And it felt like the full experience. I think what they did in that demo was just block off the single player mode, the campaign, and just leave the co-op open. So, but yeah, that was great stuff.
Somebody asked, Grubby Juice asked, what languages can you guys code? Do you code any languages?
Code in Japanese? No, I don't. I'm not a coder.
He's not a coder. Look at his hair.
Well, yeah, right. I would look more like Mig if I coded.
He would be lurched like I am, and totally unhealthy looking. I coded.
Funko Man was a chain. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
Funko.
I'm from Vermont, so I didn't grow up with any of that cool stuff.
Home
we didn't
of
have
the Bernie.
Yeah, home of the Bernie. We didn't have a Chuck E. Cheese or any of that,
Yeah.
that Katie fun stuff.
I code everything. I can code anything in any language. I think computer programming is one of those things. It's like, if you understand it, you just look up like a syntax guide, and you can kind of pick up anything. Because it's really more about your logic and understanding in the way you think more so than the language itself.
Yeah. I'm actually only starting to realize more what you mean by that now, because I remember we talked about this months ago, and you were kind of saying the same thing, where if you know coding logic, scripting logic, then you can jump between languages and kind of pick it up really quickly.
Yeah,
And
it's just order of operations. I mean, you go back to your basic math class and you think of it in terms of, how do I get from point A to point B? You have these steps, and if they're executed in order, then they do the thing that you want. But if they're not, then it fucks up, and you have to keep looking back, and you forgot a semicolon, and you just want to kill yourself. But
yeah, it's interesting to me though how having spent a month or so with GameMaker and then jumping into Construct, and despite the difference, in GameMaker having GML and Construct being visual scripting, you can see that the way that the scripting's broken down is pretty much exactly the same. Construct just fills in some of the gaps for you instead, but like they'll give you a coding block that'll perform the platforming logic for you, whereas in GameMaker you might have to actually type it all out, but you still have your if-thens, and you still have the greater than, less than, equals this event, whatever sort of thing. So the
you're
logic,
just adorable. Everything you're saying.
I have no idea what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for like a month, but
you got the little V sign, and the little V sign. There's the swirly doodle, and
I'm gonna start nitpicking all your pixel art next time you start posting.
I know a thing or two about conditional expressions.
Oh god.
No,
don't discourage the
You
newbies.
go ahead. I think that my pixel art is so
perfect,
uncriticizable, because it's just fucking simple shit.
Because it's the laziest pixel art on the internet.
I created a style called lazy style.
Yeah, you did.
Where, people can't tell the difference. You fucking find me a person who buys video games that can tell the difference between, 2 hours and 5 minutes of work.
This guy right here.
You can, but you're not. You're gonna get my game for free anyway.
Yeah, I'm not your target audience, so I don't count.
My game that exists. Here, have my game. There, you have it. Hey, this is the first podcast I've done since I got my handsome tooth. I have a new tooth now.
Give us a smile.
And
give Granny a smile.
And it's this one right here. That'll come up on a delay.
Yeah.
But
looks good as new.
Basically, I was playing hide and seek with my daughter. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done in the history of me. And I was going to hide under some pillows, so she couldn't find me, because I'm fucking awesome at hide and seek. And I had my phone on the pillow, and the phone slid off and hit me and broke my tooth off. And I would say chipped it, but it was like the lion's share of the tooth was missing from outside. So I had to actually go to the dentist and have him grind it down and put a full fake ass tooth on there. But
sounds like just some bad luck, because why would your teeth be so brittle that just a phone, that's not, must have hit at the exact right angle or something.
It was just squarely on there, and it just completely shattered my tooth into tiny pieces. And it would never again in a million years happen. It was just that one time. But it's funny because they put the new tooth is longer, so it looks like no, it's like the one on the other side is shorter, so I kind of had this rabbit sort of thing, but this one is actually, so now my left side is much more handsome. So when I turn to the
side, you just chip the other side now.
I know it makes me want to just do that horrible thing to myself again, so that I can experience probably the worst thing in my life.
It didn't actually hurt that much, though, did it? It was just
there's nothing. There was nothing in there, but just the feeling of crumbled tooth in your mouth, and you're like, oh no, and you just feel so stupid, and it's your own fault.
Did you at least put it under the pillow and have your wife like leave a quarter or something?
It would be my own quarter.
Well, hey,
Unless she goes and steals one.
still a quarter.
She's not gonna go
Still could make you feel better about it.
like earn a quarter on the side.
She just pulls it out of your wallet, puts it under your pillow.
It's funny you say a quarter, because when I was a kid, it was like $5.
$5?
$5. I was spoiled as shit,
Damn.
and I think that's
Yeah,
obvious.
clearly.
Anybody watching knows that I was spoiled. I I have no awareness for anybody's problems but my own.
You're still just a big baby eating your Cheerios,
Eating my Cheerios,
putting your teeth under pillows.
supporting my family with hard work,
Hard-working game dev.
grinding my fingers to the bone each day.
So let me ask this so no one else has to. Why are you posting dodgeball stuff again? Why'd you get back into the 3D? Because I thought you were keen on jumping back into pixels with Robert.
Okay. So
I'm not asking why you're working on a different game. I'm just asking why did you decide to go back into 3D?
I think that I get bored so fast now that if I like to have multiple projects going at once, but they've all kind of turned into the same, like I just pass code back and forth. And so Dodgeball was really the only one that like was so fundamentally different in everything. I couldn't.
That's in Unity, right?
Yeah, it's in Unity. It's in C#. The other stuff was in Game Maker, and so I don't know. I'm working on it at the office, and like it's just a fun project. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's gonna do, but it's so.
No, I mean, it's certainly very charming. It seems like
I found myself in a position where I needed to show some range and kind of figure out what I'm best at, and I still am not quite there yet. But if in the near future I need to define work doing something in that field, I would want to be able to have a body of work that I'm proud of in whatever I'm doing.
right. It's fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like I can do anything. I want to prove that a little bit, I guess. Really, my answer sounded like a bunch of bullshit, didn't it? It was just like solid words.
Yeah. Yeah. All I heard was everybody told me to make chicken sword, and I'm like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want. So you're not doing that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I
Just
don't.
a big middle finger to Twitter.
I don't do anything that people tell me to do. That would
You
be.
do the opposite.
I often find
So we
myself
can just reverse
doing the
psychology you and get you to do anything, really.
Well, I don't know what you're motivated by. I will tell you, I'm motivated by people telling me that I can't do something. And
Yeah.
whenever people say like, "Oh, do this. This is the better thing," I think, well, that means that you think I'm not good at the other thing, because that's just how my brain works. People tell me, "Oh, you'll never be able to write music. Stick to what you're good at," and I spend like months learning how to write music.
Yeah, that's called ego, Mick.
It could be ego. I like to consider it maybe generalism as a philosophy. I like to be.
Well, that's how it leads to generalism. I think
I think that I don't like
it's a
the idea.
byproduct.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of just like focusing too much on one thing. I want to be like okay at a lot of things so that I have a working knowledge and I can understand when people are full of shit about whatever they're talking about. It's kind of a bad reason.
That's yeah. I don't know. Everyone has their own reasons for doing what they do, but I think that being a generalist has its ups and downs. I kind of tried to steer away from that more recently because I think I had that was my issue. Like I was kind of a generalist for a long time, and it didn't do me any favors in trying to land a job. So I realized I should probably focus on something. And I don't know why that ended up being pixel art. That was just a totally impulsive decision. But
because it's not real art, it's easy.
because it's easy,
it's
right?
Fake. It's fake art.
It's the pointillism of real art.
There's truth. Okay, I will admit, I see the jokes all the time where people are like, they'll say something ironically like pixel art isn't real art and it's easy and lazy or whatever. And there's truth, sort of, if you redefine what lazy means.
Nah, there's no truth to that at all.
Pixel art is a scope, just like programming is a scope.
Right.
And
just like any working in any artistic medium has a scope, has a spectrum.
It's not the top tier of effort.
Right.
Because it's what it's designed to be. The reason why it's so good for independent game development is because you can turn out something in pixel art as one person.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it's bad, and people have done amazing things with pixel art. And you can express all these crazy different styles, but it is faster. I mean, I think that's the attractive part.
Well, it's not even necessarily faster. It depends on who you ask and who's doing the art. I mean, if you look at like Iconoclasts or Owlboy, those clearly took. I mean, the artists are pretty fast given what they're doing, but those clearly took a lot longer than something like Nidhogg, which was just skinning a mechanic. I mean, I like the game; it's a fun game.
No,
I'm not knocking it, but the art serves.
You could say that
for being
but that's about detail level, attention to detail. But I think you take that same attention to detail and put it in a different medium, it would be even slower than the pixel art. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess so. There's a lot of. Look at Angry Birds. That art serves its purpose nicely. There's a cohesive aesthetic, but the art didn't take them that long.
Oh no, I actually watched a documentary. It took them over 9 years to make those birds.
To design it, yeah, but not necessarily to do the actual artwork. Designing a good pixel art character or an iconic pixel art character will take just as long.
I'm lying. I don't know anything about Rovio.
Yeah.
And I have friends that work for Rovio now that they're like a massive company. But
yeah, I haven't heard of anything about them in a few years. I think they kind of went.
Well, they had the movie.
Silent, but
the Angry Birds movie.
True. That movie that probably bombed, right?
Probably, but you don't know.
Did it do well? Actually, I have no idea.
It could have. I don't know. I don't keep up with children's movies in particular.
And now there's an emoji movie coming out. Apparently.
That's really lazy. I will say that is lazy. That's lazier than pixel art.
Oh, I just remembered because I was Samurai Jack has a fifth season. I think it's fifth season soon. Right, and so Gendy Tartakovsky was working on before Samurai Jack was working on another movie. I think it was a Popeye movie, and that apparently got shelved to make way for the Emoji movie. So they basically whatever studio was funding it or producing it basically told him, screw your Popeye movie, and I saw a demo of the movie. It actually looked pretty amazing. But they're like, yeah, surprisingly, right? The IP is outdated and tired, but
I want a Popeye anime.
Well, that's basically what they did.
Show me that.
It was super slapstick.
No.
It's really good.
Like some melodramatic. I want to see Popeye like powering up with his spinach.
Right.
And then
Super Saiyan Popeye.
Exactly. And like I don't know. Have you seen the original like the Popeye movie with Robin Williams?
No. I know that happened, but
I'm aware that it was an event. No, I watched it with my family when I was a little kid, and it wasn't memorable at all because Popeye is really like, I mean, what do you really have with that when you can compare it? Look at how many emojis there are. I mean, come on, that's just way deeper than Popeye or something.
Well, apparently Patrick Stewart is voicing the poop emoji, so they've definitely put the funds into this thing, expecting it to make.
I may be a poop, but I know a thing or two about love.
You may be number one, but I'm going number two.
Oh, that's better. Your joke is better than mine. Maybe you should be the dad.
I should voice the poop.
That's a dad joke.
That's a dad joke right there.
Number two.
Number two. Number one, engage.
Engage.
Engage the flushing.
This is the best part. Just saying engage into the camera. This is the best episode of Mr. Pod yet. Engage.
Engage.
What were we talking about again?
I'll never get over the fact that if I look at the stream, it's like 3 seconds behind. So I've got to focus on what's on the other side of my screen.
You just disable the preview and boom, you're done.
Yeah, but then I can't see anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's even more awkward.
Or stare at yourself on Skype.
I could do that.
You'd be too distracted.
You'd just be
like,
fixing my hair.
My God, I'm so beautiful.
I'm Panic at the Disco, man.
I mean, you could be a cover girl. That's a precedent that's been set now. You don't have to be a girl for that.
Yeah, a cover boy.
No, you're still it's a cover girl.
But you're a guy.
Yeah, there's a guy doing it now, right? I think.
Yeah, we're not going into that because there are Twitter people watching this.
Twitter people? They don't know shit about makeup. Well.
They don't know shit about makeup, but there's plenty out there that could be discussed and ruin careers when it comes to cover men, girl.
Well, would you like to talk about a famous YouTuber?
The Pewds?
The Pewds?
Hasn't everything that can possibly be said about that already been said?
I think so.
As a Jew, I will say that he did nothing wrong. I think I have some
PewDiePie
right to
or
say
Hitler?
That. PewDiePie. Don't take that out of context.
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal, please. Don't chop this up. I'll go like this and just stretch a little bit. Nobody screenshot.
Did you okay, I think we may have talked about this. Did you do the whole, like, were your family, like, practicing Jews when you were a kid, or is that just something that you identify as because your mom's Jewish and that's law, the Jewish law?
It is actually a very strange and convoluted story, but I guess the short of it is, since you asked, that I was initially raised Catholic and then Baptist, and then
how okay, people don't know shit about Baptists. I was raised Southern Baptist, and I know that Southern Baptists think that Catholics are a cult and do not like Catholics. So that's a weird transition.
That's the Texas part. So
that must be the Texas thing.
That was the Texas, yeah. So my dad is from New York originally and grew up, I believe, Catholic, and then moved to Texas, which is where I was born. So then they ended up becoming Baptist, and then my mom is Jewish. So once we left Texas, they started becoming more interested in exploring the Jewish side and Jewish religion. And we went from that's how my life began. And then at 13, there was one Saturday where I was all set to watch the new Pokemon where Arcanine was supposed to evolve, and I was told that we're not going to be using electricity on Saturday, so I wasn't able to watch the episode.
What? And that's when you decided religion is bullshit. I gotta watch Pokemon. God isn't real.
Yeah, exactly. Arcanine or bust.
Why would he punish me for loving Pokemon? Why would a god do that if he exists?
God invented Pokemon. He can't take it away from me.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, like, you know, having spent time in Texas, you're probably familiar, but people in Texas are super religious in general.
Yeah.
Like, not me, but my
but
parents.
For the most part, unless you're in like Austin, I think most people are pretty.
My wife's parents believe in faith healing, which is a certain level of crazy beyond the normal amount
Yeah.
of crazy, where they think that you can be slapped in whatever part of your face and be cured of male pattern bald. I don't know. Like they just
Just slap the hair back into your
yeah,
head.
something like that. But you have clear evidence that that isn't what's
It does.
happening, and yet they all believe it, and they all like lay on the floor and speak in tongues and stuff.
Okay, I was just gonna ask if they do the
They
tongues
do,
thing. Yeah,
they
yeah, that's
do,
what it is.
and people will do that, and then get up and just go about their day and not think for the rest of the day. Wow, I just did something fucking crazy. like that's not okay, is it?
I've never seen it in person, thankfully, but I have seen enough footage of people doing that, like rolling on the floor and convulsing like they're having a seizure, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no, and they think
ridiculous that
they
you can actually fall for something like that.
they think a lot of problems are because of demons and things like that, and it's like I would never. Okay, like
Too much Alex Jones.
I'm not religious. I like to let people believe whatever they want. It's not hurting anybody, but like
Sure.
when you get to a point where you're writing off all behavior as something supernatural and don't try and like address the problem and fix it within your
It must be
means,
possession.
it seems self-destructive to me, and there might be somebody that's offended by that notion, because I think a lot of what makes religion appealing in general is that it's comforting, that there's something else, that doesn't make everything that we're doing so pointless. Because
Mhm.
it is. I mean, we're like tiny little things in this giant universe.
Well, it ascribes meaning to life, and it ascribes purpose and an origin point. And I think a lot of people need some kind of structure, understanding inherently who they are, where they are, and why they're here in order to feel secure. So, if it's helpful to you or to some people, then more power to them, I guess.
Yeah, but
As
don't.
long as it's not just destructive
Yeah,
to someone
don't
else's way of life or
just
living.
don't blow people up because of it. Like,
Right.
don't
Ideally.
shoot people like because of that. That's a stupid reason. like,
Yeah.
come up with a good reason to blow people up if you're gonna blow them up. Like oil, that's a good reason. I don't know what else besides oil. Oil seems
That's
to
the
be
capitalist reason.
oil's a good reason to blow people up. I think.
Mhm.
Or like there's a Family Feud or something, and
TV show?
no, like the Hatfields and McCoys
That's probably stuff that you know a lot about, right? Your
feuds.
your cousins and uncles back on the farm
You say that.
shooting each other over stealing chickens.
I am from a long line of farm people, which is true, but I always considered like grudges and things to be more of a northern quality, not like a southern quality. Because in the South, we're just like whatever
Southern hospitality.
you punch him in the face, and it's like okay, let's go play some football or something. Like that's all.
Is that how you resolve your conflicts down there at your family reunions?
you punch? Yeah, with punching and
Punch
football.
each other in the face. You're punching in football. Yeah,
I mean,
sounds accurate.
it's
to be
better
honest.
than blowing people up, probably.
Just set up a bunch of bear traps around your cabin.
Oh,
wait for them to-
we're getting some actual questions, so we should probably
really?
address these. You don't have a tremendous amount of time left, I'm imagining. But so we got. What do you
Let's
think
talk about some real stuff.
What do you think about Steam Direct?
Steam
And that's
Direct.
from our good buddy Glint Games.
Glint Games.
Glint
What do I
Games.
think about? I know Glint. What do I think about Steam Direct? I really have no opinion on it yet because I don't know enough about it.
You mean you
I
don't
know
have
it-
a gut reaction that you want to inspire people to write articles about?
Yeah, I'm not one of those who ranted on Twitter about it right after it happened. Because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and wait.
Hey,
I trust Valve a little bit.
Valve is always going to make decisions. I think they've got two people. Well, okay. In order of advocacy, Valve cares about Valve, number one. They're not going to do anything that hurts their profitability. Number two, they're consumer advocates. And then three, and a distant three, they care about developers. But, like, caring about consumers is the only reason they got big enough to where developers have a place to sell their games in mass.
And they know that.
And I think primarily them looking out for themselves is finding good games and having them on Steam. There is a problem where there's just shit, like endless oceans of shit on Steam. Absolute trash.
Well, and Greenlight's not doing anything to curb that, or
no,
at least
it
wasn't before it got shut down. And you have, I think we were talking about this at some point too. It's very simple to set up bots on Greenlight to just upvote your copied derivative product into the sky and get it greenlit super quickly. I mean, this is probably going to actually curb a lot of people from releasing crap games.
I hope so. And I almost liked it better before. Just like I liked Kickstarter before, when they actually made a decision themselves. They actually looked at the thing and did some research and figured out what they thought would be the best thing to sell. Because back then, just having your game on Steam meant you were going to make some money.
You were guaranteed some money. Yeah, exactly.
And I mean that was like. Terraria basically passed right through. They loved the idea and they threw it up there. And I think Terraria sold like 12 million copies or some ridiculous amount now.
That's probably just PC alone too. I think on mobile it's sold at least as much.
Yeah, it's just and Kickstarter used to be if they found your product interesting, they'd put it on Kickstarter and it was browsable, and you go and see the cool shit on Kickstarter. Now you go on Kickstarter, it's just endless oceans of trash, and maybe one thing, but you have to find it somewhere else. You find it on Twitter or whatever. These things are not a discovery mechanism, and the developer's cut, or the cut that gets taken out when you sell a game on Steam, the premise of that is that you're paying for the service of discovery. You're going in their storefront, and people are finding you. Well, if people can't find you because there's too much crap, then what's the point? They've got to
sift through everything. There's not really much. Why wouldn't
you find another store that's smaller that actually gives a shit about the quality? And I don't, I'm not even sure that exists. Maybe Good Old Games, they do some curation.
Oh, GOG.
Yeah, GOG is pretty good.
I mean, there and like Green Man Gaming, and there are a few other.
Yeah, but I don't think just
Humble's doing a pretty decent job these days.
Everything just going in, that's not a service that you should pay for. It doesn't make any sense because it's not a benefit.
Well, the main gripe that I've been seeing about Steam Direct from people is they are afraid it's going to turn Steam into an app store, and basically, to your point, it already is. Yeah. I mean, there's so much crap there that it can't really get much worse, as far as I can imagine. So,
it can't get worse than it is. I mean, you get people going into the Unity store and buying an asset package and putting it on Greenlight willy-nilly and selling it.
Right.
And the thing is,
doing a clone of Ink.
Yeah, who would clone Ink? That piece of shit made by a psychopath. And
well, there are like 20 iterations of it with slightly varied color palettes or names.
Yeah, he's not innocent in that.
Mostly Russians. No, well,
if you don't want people to clone your game, probably don't sell the game's source code. But
it largely is Zach's fault.
No, and it's fine. People still shouldn't do it, but they're going to. You
of course they are.
And when he did that, I don't think he thought the game would be as big as it was. It's too easy, and people that go through the green light and vote, people aren't downvoting, they're just skipping, because they think, I don't want to downvote this, that's a dick move.
No, they're not thinking that. They're definitely downvoting too.
Some people just go through downvote everything.
They totally do, and it is a dick move, but people do that. It's like somebody commenting on a YouTube video just to say, this video sucks. There's a down arrow button for a reason, or a thumbs down for a reason. Like, you don't actually have to comment and let the world know that you don't like this video. But yeah, on Steam too, that people do this, and I don't know. It's just ruining it for people that are actually putting in the hard work.
Got another question. Favorite anime, and if they don't like anime, blow them up. That's a good reason. You know, it's better than religion. If somebody doesn't like anime, just blow them up.
Blow them up.
Then you got more people that like anime percentage-wise on the planet. Then you start connecting again. You start bringing people together. You know, really making
Strap them into a chair and make them watch Crunchyroll for 24 hours.
Crunchyroll. So, okay, I will admit, I'm 31. I'm older than probably, I mean, everybody but Ginny, who's like a dinosaur.
You better hope she's not still here.
She is. I know that she is.
She's going to take her revenge.
No, I watch anime, but I draw a line. You know, there's anime that's like adventure, imaginative, exciting kind of shit. And then there's like yo-yo princess, like taekwondo teenager girl, and like grown men that are watching things like that. It makes me a little like, huh? Like I don't know what the value of that is. Now I will say I don't watch it. I don't watch like Magical Girl, Kiss Kiss 5 type of things. But I guess just watching anime is enough to be dorky. So maybe I shouldn't care as much. What is your favorite anime?
I'll be honest, I haven't watched anything in a really long time, but what is that one that came out recently? Little Witch Academia. That I actually do kind of want to see because Studio Trigger does amazing work. I'm trying to remember what did they do. Do you know if they did One Punch Man? I think they did, and that I did watch. And that was great. I mean, generally, I don't watch anime anymore because I can't really handle the horrible dialogue. But if the animation is good or it's from a studio that I really like, then I'll definitely watch it. So the criteria is probably a bit different.
Jen said that I'm mad because I'm ugly when I fall asleep, and that's why I said mean things. It's true. I will say I'm a little sore.
You're just bitter, projecting.
Because my wife took a picture of me, like face down with holding my phone.
I saw it.
And she said that I was not my best look. And my
You were
wife.
cute.
The funny part is that my wife read that and she was like, "Who's this bitch?" Like, who would say that mean thing? It's like, it's cool. These aren't strangers saying this.
They know they're just trying to get my dander up.
And strangers can say it too. I don't really care. I'm pretty secure in the sort of weird vampire kind of look that I have going.
If you're willing to post that online, then you're opening yourself up to ridicule,
Exactly.
and you know it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And
You welcome it. You eat it for breakfast.
you're not gonna make the top 100 hottest men, magazines, unless you post pictures of yourself sleeping and holding a phone. That's just part of the thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
Mob Psycho, I haven't seen yet. They're talking about that, and that's by
That's a good one,
the same.
too.
Did you say the same studio as One Punch Man, or the same creator?
Same creator. It's by one. Yeah.
One. Well, that's apt.
One.
But
Mysterious.
I enjoyed One Punch Man.
One
In the same way that I enjoy Earthbound, it's like a parody of things that I'm already familiar with. I thought One Punch Man was brilliant.
A lot of anime actually takes itself pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Which you would think it wouldn't, but it does, and One Punch Man definitely didn't.
Right. Well, the whole thing about it is every scene in that show, you can see where it's coming from. Like, if you are familiar with Dragon Ball, Naruto, whatever, the classics, you can see that it's a parody. They're making all these like hilarious jokes that relate back to this nonsense.
Yeah.
But One Punch Man is great. I was laughing my ass off. And my introduction to that was, I think, Fell posting a picture of the transvestite guy, like the giant muscle guy who had like a prison uniform on. He posted that as me somehow. I'd have to go back.
I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to remember all the characters from the show, but that one doesn't ring a bell.
Well, you need to rewatch it. He made a
Yeah, I
real
guess I
impression
do.
on me. But
You
Fell,
felt some kind of connection with him, some soul connection, just
Fell,
spirit animal.
Fell is one of my favorite people. And he's at GDC, I guess, or he's going.
Oh, yeah, he's going. Yeah, I don't think he even knows that I'm not going yet, or if he does, he just found out. I think he just
That
woke up.
yeah, that really sucks, man. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, you'll figure it out. Is there
Uh,
any,
just
is there any reason in particular they don't let people leave?
No, it's entirely due to my own stupidity. I didn't realize that my visa, which was a year-long visa, expires basically the exact day that I was supposed to return.
Oh
And
God.
they picked up on that, and they were like, "Yeah, you know, we're definitely not going to let you back into the country if you leave now." So I was like, "Oh shit, I've got to get that situated." But yeah,
Then
they
you
weren't
have to
happy.
find a new wife or something. She's not going to
Yeah,
wait for you.
Oh, of course not.
No, she can
Just-
find another man like that. She teaches English. That's like
Mhm.
a turn on for everyone.
Milo just got in trouble for talking about that, so we're gonna
wife,
skip that topic.
my wife teaches English as well.
To babies?
No, to fourth graders. But
Close enough. They're babies.
no, it's just funny. You know, she's a teacher. She's actually quitting this year.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Well, she wants to spend time with the kids. I think it's a good idea. I mean, she's wanted to do that, and we can afford it, so why not?
Good.
Sounds,
Yeah, no.
Sounds fun. I hope she enjoys it, and she'll probably get bored and go back to work at some point. But
Is
I
she
think
looking to get into a hobby of some kind,
a
or
hobby?
take up? Well, not necessarily a hobby, but take up something else in the hopes of
Child-
achieving a dream.
Child raising.
Specifically, okay. Well, hey, it's
Going to-
admirable enough.
Dude, kids are work, man. Like, you don't know until you know.
Got another 18 good years of that hard
They,
work too.
they
so.
wake your ass up at 7 in the morning, and they're like, let's fucking go. Let's do it. You're like, do what? They're like, I'm a kid. I don't make those decisions. So you gotta, like, go do shit, or they just whine all the time.
They want to watch Pokemon.
They don't watch Pokemon, that devil trash.
Whatever you do, just make sure that once they reach 13, you don't suddenly say they can't watch it anymore.
Peppa Pig is the shit. Like, I will say that's my favorite kids cartoon.
It's definitely better than like Caillou or Dora or any of those.
Caillou is like banned in this house. It is the worst. Peppa Pig is like a British comedy, but about a children's cartoon.
It ain't bad.
It's good. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
there are a few of those kid shows that actually that hold up. They're pretty good.
I will
But,
watch it. I'll watch it with her, and I won't even apologize. I'll just be like, "Put on the Peppa. Let's fucking do it." She'll be like, "All right, fucking
Put
yeah."
on the Peppa.
She's not allowed to say fuck. Not until she's 10 or whatever.
Only if it's in reference to Peppa Pig.
Yeah, she's
Turn
got.
on the fucking Peppa.
On the subject of streamers earlier, it's like my wife's students. They all watch all these guys, right?
Mm.
And they
Peppa
all
Pig?
no
In fourth
no
grade?
like in fourth grade they all watch like PewDiePie and
Oh,
and like
okay.
the Game Grumps and all this shit. It's like fourth graders are watching this, right? They
Yeah.
shouldn't be. Their parents shouldn't be letting them. But
Their parents probably all think they're watching like Nazi propaganda now.
no, yeah, I guess that's probably true. But most parents are probably younger than you'd think.
The fourth graders? Yeah, maybe. I
But
don't know how up on the internet pop culture they are, but
yeah, they
probably not enough to know that it's all fake news.
But they all watch this streaming stuff, and you know, there's a lot of swearing in that stuff. And we had a conversation on the drive home today. Actually, like, do the kids know, you know, the difference between what's appropriate to say and what's not? And she said they know not to swear because typically when they're swearing at that age, it's because they're mad.
Yeah.
And you don't really develop casual swearing until college. Like when I swear, it's just because I'm lazy, and that's a lazy words. But when they do it, it's like, you fucking pisshead on the playground. Yeah.
They're just experimenting with words. I mean, if someone that they admire is uses those words pretty regularly, then it's certainly going to pop into their head when they are trying to express themselves. But kids experiment and kids understand time and place and context better than a lot of adults give them credit, I think. So
Yeah, maybe so. But then again, they're dumb kids.
they're all just dumb kids. We're all dumb humans.
They're
man.
fucking dumb as hell.
We're all dumb.
Okay, another question. What indie game are you the most excited about? And, okay, before you say anything, Ben and like everybody else, they all said Narita Boy already, so you can't use that one.
Oh, dude. The music.
It looks good, right? Well, it's like synth-wavy shit, but it's like a fusion of all these popular games almost in the way that it looks.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, how it's kind of like a mix of Hyper Light Drifter and Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, that's what it.
Visually,
I mean,
at least.
Immediately, that's what popped into my head when I was watching. Is, you've got like the minimalist palette and animations of Hyper Light Drifter mixed with like the proportions, and I don't know. Maybe I don't remember it as well as I thought I did.
No, that trailer definitely hit me in the right spots. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't really play a lot of games these days. I should play more, but yeah, it does look good and it sounds really good. I want the soundtrack, if nothing else, for sure. But I just got a DS the other day because I realized that I learned rather that they're not region locked, and I had no idea. So I've got a DS back in the States, but I didn't bring it with me because I assumed I couldn't play any games here, or buy any games rather. But knowing that it's not region locked, I just picked up a new one, and I got some Kirby games and Yoshi's Island, which I haven't really played
Kirby
before.
Games, got some
Kirby games, got some Peppa Pig.
They ain't no Peppa Pig games, or I would have it already.
You would.
Yeah. Okay. So my daughter, who's 3. All right. I have a 3-year-old daughter. My son's about to turn 1. My daughter beat some fucking levels of Yoshi's, what's it called? Woolly World. And
oh, yeah.
that was like the proudest I've ever been in my entire life. She beat some levels by herself. She didn't ask for any help. She solved some puzzles. It's a 3-year-old. And
was it like level 1 or was it actually...
No, we're into like World 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's, she used to like have me play with her, and I would like carry her in my mouth and spit her out and stuff. But she's beating some levels, and I'm so fucking impressed. It's like the proudest I've ever been.
She's been watching Daddy.
I don't really play games in front of her, other than like what she asks me to. I don't really play games, period.
Especially play more games.
Especially not console games.
Yeah, I haven't played console games in years, just due to the fact that I can't I don't want to buy any in Japan and have to lug them back on a plane or something. But yeah, we were talking about that too a while back. How do you need to be a gamer in order to be a good game dev?
Oh yeah.
And it's a tricky thing because I think in large part you do, but a lot of devs don't play games anymore, or they kind of either they don't have time or they stop because they would rather be making them. And it's an interesting topic for discussion, I think, because at a certain point it's kind of like a teacher who stops learning whatever it is they're teaching, or stops staying up to date with it, and then I guess their methods and their ideas fall a little behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky thing.
I was being deliberately provocative, as I am. And, I use the term gamer specifically because I know that it conjures certain ideas. People have these preconceived notions based on whatever about what a gamer is. To me, a gamer is just a person who their hobby is that they play video games. That's what a gamer is to me. A lot of people think...
But do you consider yourself a gamer then? Because you don't really play games anymore.
I play games. I mostly play like competitive online shooters and competitive games, with friends.
Yeah.
So I would consider myself a gamer. I don't really have time for many hobbies, but at night, I study games. When I play them, I play them a lot differently than I used to.
You're actually
But
doing research now.
well, when I play a game, especially because I'm working in 3D, I'll look at the way that models are done, and I'll look at like how they use textures on certain things to kind of like fake certain effects and things, and I can't not notice it now.
Yeah.
But I still, I would consider myself a gamer just because I don't know what else I would do. That's been what I've done my whole life as a hobby. But a lot of people.
But then you've got the kids who spend 4 to 5 hours plus playing Overwatch every day, as well as like picking up the newest console titles, and they're super up to date on AAA. Like they're gamers too.
Well, yeah.
Clearly. So what does that make us?
Okay, so there's casual gamers and then there's tryhards.
Right.
And fuck tryhards.
You're only a tryhard if you're like an idea guy. So you're a gamer and you have ideas for games, and you say, oh, I'm gonna be a game dev because I've got all the cool ideas.
No, that's not what I mean. People that are tryhards in games are the people that play for mastery. Casuals are the people that play.
Got to get all the achievements.
People that play for enjoyment are casuals.
Yeah.
And that's me. Like I play a game because I want to escape and not think too hard, and just like I'll play a game that makes me think, but it's like for fun.
Right.
And there are people that, I call them tryhards. I think a lot of people do, that really take it seriously. Like, there's no way that you can enjoy it if you're playing games like that. Like, if you lose, you're punching the wall and you're having a real problem.
I am very happy to say I've never rage quit or thrown a controller before.
I think I can't admit that.
You have? Well, so you've got a little bit of try hard in you.
I did when I was younger. Well, I played competitive Counter-Strike, and because everybody did back then, right? And yeah, I definitely was more of a try hard.
I'm ashamed of you.
We did tournaments and shit for like money.
I'm ashamed of you, sir.
Yeah, no, it's embarrassing. It's like the worst part of my life. I have so much more chill now than I used to. And that's what I pride myself on. Is I used to be really irritable, angry kind of a guy, and now nothing really bothers me that much. But
good. Well, you grew out of it, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
It was delayed teenage angst.
I think having kids changes you. Fundamentally.
What if you're already super chill?
Well, if you're just chill and that's your personality, that's fine. But I think, when you have kids and you have other people to take care of and worry about, it changes your perspective. And shit doesn't matter. Playing video games, nothing in a video game matters in my life. That used to be all that mattered. Because what else did I have going on? Achievement was everything. And if you're not going to win, I played sports too, kind of the same thing. Yeah. You don't play sports to lose. That's what losers do. But, it comes out of me, especially in games like Overwatch. Occasionally I'll catch myself like, what the fuck? But for the most part, I think I just enjoy it.
I think wanting to win, even if you're playing casually, is fine. I mean, when I play Overwatch, you can only lose so many games in a row before you start feeling like shit.
It really beats you down. It's the worst.
Yeah, of course. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like if I actually had kids, I probably wouldn't even feel like I'm allowed to make time to play games for myself. Like maybe I would only play them if it was with my kid or something. But
yeah,
I don't know how I feel.
Another change I noticed about having kids is I used to have a really active imagination. I used to be afraid of irrational things, like sitting in the dark.
Conspiracy theories?
No, like sitting in the dark, you watch something scary, and like you're looking over your shoulder, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Since I've had kids, I don't feel that. And I didn't even notice, but like for the last 4 years, I haven't felt that feeling a single time. Like, and I don't know if it's just because biologically I'm done. I've accomplished what I'm supposed to, and I no longer have the need to protect myself from danger. But like,
it's actually a really interesting theory because I don't know. Maybe there is something that's kind of triggered in you, like some sort of
And
chemistry that
my wife is the opposite. You know, we used to go watch
she's
like
more on edge.
the Saw movies and things like that together. And since we've had kids, she's just like everything disturbs her so deeply.
Well, she probably puts her kids in the scenarios that are.
Well, yeah, because when you're a mother, I think you
paranoia heightened.
You have to go into that mode.
Yeah, she's become Mama Bear.
My laptop is actually running out of battery now.
You asshole!
I know.
That's fine. I've got to get going soon anyway.
we should probably wrap this up. But
I want to plug Bannon's game because River City Ransom's coming out on I think the 27th, right?
Hell yeah! And that's a Kunio game, right? Well, like,
yeah,
not exactly. But,
well, it's a Bannon Rudis game, but it's going to be awesome.
But it's like it's got the style of the old Kunio games, Kunio-kun, and what he has done with the animation and maintaining with sort of an ugly style, but transforming it using animation and using some like details and things. He's made it really like great looking. I think that game is smooth as hell, and I'm impressed like crazy with it. Me too. I played so many of those games like Super Dodgeball and World Cup Soccer and all those games that had that style. They look like shit compared to River City Ransom. This new one.
Yep. And, what I love about it is that it still looks like the old one. Like the nostalgia is there. Yeah. But it looks so much better if you actually compare it next to the originals. Which I don't know how he managed to pull off.
It's
but
great.
Bannon's a wizard.
Super impressive. And so check it out if you haven't seen that. And,
do it. Buy it. Play it. Get it.
Probably also want to check out these Space Boy games.
I should be mentioning that too, shouldn't I?
Because
my own shit.
Yeah, because they're made by some cool bros that are nice.
Well, Hacky Zack is coming out on March 22nd, so it's still about a month away, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
and you should play it.
It's coming out. Is it coming out in the Humble like monthly bundle? Is that something?
No. So Humble Publishing is completely separate from the Humble store, and so Hacky Zack will be on its own. It'll be available in the Humble store and on Steam. And if you do subscribe to Humble Monthly, it'll be there eventually, but it's not going to be for the first,
it'll be featured whenever they do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. And working with them has actually been really great so far. So I haven't. And I know they've got like 5 other titles that are coming out. Keyboard Sports, Inkfell, a lot of other really nice games. They picked up a handful of goodies, so yeah, I hope that they do really well because I want to work with them again.
Yeah, me too. I'll take some of that sweet publishing money.
You can jump on their wagon with Dodgeball.
I need to make a game first.
You do. Got to finish the game first.
Finish a game. There it goes again. Your battery's low. All right.
Got to wrap it up.
Well, I will talk to you again. We should do this again. I think that this was fun and nonsensical and totally non-topical.
Next time I'll be less bummed and brain dead.
Oh, you're fine. Because it's like morning for you, right? But it's like
it's night. It's not night, but it's like 8:50 p.m.
It's 6. It's like 6 a.m. here.
Yeah. The weight of today's sadness has burdened my brain.
Just don't do the Japanese thing that they do with their like stabbing and
don't open my stomach right here on stream.
That's a fucking dumb way to die.
Use my stylistic.
They should stab through the eye. That's how you do it.
It's purposely dumb because they do it in the stomach and as slowly as possible because that's where it hurts more.
Honorable to fuck yourself up real bad.
I turned myself into a sushi. That's racist.
That's a real dick move. Whoever came up with the cutting of the stomach, that guy was a shithead. Like, what an asshole.
Apparently, the longer it takes you to die, the more honorable it is. Like, the longer it takes you to bleed out. So I guess if you use a super thin knife and cut, like, across the stomach, then you're gonna, take twice as long to bleed out or
Well, I'm
whatever.
so
Yeah.
honorable. I'm gonna fucking live forever.
You're gonna die from
Oh.
Cheerio overdose.
Cheerio overdose.
You and your Cheerios.
All right. So that's Mr. Pod. y'all have a good one. Thanks for hanging out.
Hope you learned nothing.
Nothing at all.